It is day 4 of filming every single day for your viewing pleasure. Today we're doing 6 downlights, we're changing over a centre, pendant light in the kitchen above the island, and also we're doing a loft light. It's a bungalow, so this is the house that we did recently, which has got the summer house painting room that we did with the awkward conduit and the horrible gap that I had to feed between. Unfortunately, I was a bit fat back then. Now, no problem, breeze through it. I'm going to try and make this as thorough, as exciting as I can. Like I say, I really do enjoy my job, so I hope that comes across in the videos. If you haven't already, please do drop a like. It really does help the videos. There seems to be, unfortunately, maybe it's time, the fall off of YouTube sparks. I seem to be the only one consistently putting videos out anymore, and everyone is noticing in the comments. The only reason I checked is because you lot have been saying that I'm the only one that's still really doing it now. Everyone else is only doing like one a month, so I enjoy it. Then again, I don't have to pay for a camera crew and an editor and all that sort of stuff on top. I do it all myself because I like it and I enjoy it, and it is a lovely hobby that pays money as well. Fabulous. So I'll give you a run through of the setup. I did equally this morning get to the unit to get my work mats and everything, and they were filthy, and I did have a problem the other day. I used the mats 2 jobs in a row that were filthy, and I ended up moving dust from someone's house into someone else's house. So I've gone, as you can see for the lovely B-roll video here, rolling out the mat, cleaning it all, hoovering, did a few work mats as well, and popping them back in the van. So let's get inside and I'll shut up talking. Bye. Right, I'm coming up with new systems to try and make work more efficient and easier and less mess. So table is up, we've been in, spoke to the customer. I'm going to pre-set up everything here. I've got bin bags, I've got my mats, I've got the light. I can drill, stuffing gland, the strip light, get everything done and ready and unpacked here, put all the rubbish in the bin from all the downlights, put it back in the van and just take in what I need, because there's nothing worse. What essentially I would take is all the lights and all the materials just bought inside, unpackage it, put it in a bin, and then bring it outside. The fact it's not raining, I can put my table, it's a secure area-ish. I can do it all here, make a mess, go inside, do that. But the first thing I'm going to do is, which I have neglected, this is a Dade dust eliminator, whatever it is, just a silicone tube. Bear with me. Sorry about that, it was Mitch. We're going go-karting. It's Bright Spark's 2nd birthday, so he's paying for us to go-karting. That's wicked. Anyway, yeah, it's just a silicone cup that goes around your downlight. As and when you drill up, it catches 99% of the dust, I would probably say. But after a while, it does get clogged up, so we're just going to do a bit of a clean. Tablet Nick on board again. And then we have it brand new. And all word of warning, because I have done this a couple of times, is I'm not using this at least for an hour, because obviously I've got a million other things to do. Do not use this if it's wet, because it will look like it just did a minute ago times 10. Everything will stick to it. So, right, okay. Next, bin bags. Any spark out there, realistically now, if you don't, buy yourself a roll of bin bags, B&Q, £8, Amazon, whatever. Every job now with the EV stuff, we get one out. Throughout the day, I fill it up, put it in the bin. Obviously, I have a waste carry license, and also I've got the bin at the unit, which helps me. But especially unboxing all these downlights, everything can go straight in, back in, rather than stuff being blown everywhere. I'm not trying to teach you guys to suck eggs. Please do not think I'm doing that. I'm just trying to run through the process to any new people in it, or any guys that are out there of consistently sick of doing everything. There's other ways to do stuff that makes your life easier, or have a routine that you can stick to, that you like, that helps you get through the day easier. That's what I'm getting at. All right, work mats, hoovered, work runners, hoovered, done. Even put elastic bands on it because I lost the straps. All right, first thing first, let's do the 4-foot LED strip. The only thing I'm going to do this is unbox it, do a 20mm hole in the end, put a stuffing gland in it, put it back together, it's ready to go. While I have the van bot open, right, we've got the stud buddies, which are the 2 magnets. We've got a combi drill, cable stapler, we're going to put some more staples in, and the laser. The laser, because we are now moving the centre light above the island. The island's been put in position where it needs to go, so we're going to do the plumb line straight up and mark the ceiling exactly where it should be. Just recording everything out here in the garage by myself, and the customer's just gone in his garage and put the radio on full blast. So if you like Backstreet Boys, it's on right now. I want it that way. And now we're making loads of noise. Obviously when I get back to the unit, because obviously I'm mixing waste here, I'll empty out the bag again, and I'll separate the recyclables like this cardboard from the non-recyclables, so it's, you know, all sorted. Right, other things, we're going to need Wago tin, we're going to need screws and plugs. cable, and also an energy switch and module. And this is because when I spoke to the customer, the way we said about it is all the lights will come on together because there's a hard plastered wall. There doesn't look like there's going to be any room to drag a new cable down the light switch. And that's sort of what we're spoken about. This morning she said she would like the spots on different circuits, so I'll run you through that when we're in there. But worst case scenario, the pendant, which will be on the least amount, will be off this with the hidden switch stuck underneath the island unit because it's on wheels, and then the spotlights will operate from the actual light switch that's in the room, but you'll see in a second. Right, that's everything. We've got the Hoover extra, we've got the cable, we've got the rubber tech, we've got a mask, we've got some staples, and then I've got my sleeve it. So a lot of people don't know this, is once the coils are empty, you can, if you wanted to. This one was a prototype, hence you could tell from the staples, but these are two smaller cartridges compared to the bigger ones, but you can wind them up with the earth sleeve you want, but I haven't told you that. That's the rest of the stuff. We've got the iPad, we've got the tester, we've got the light, so let's go in there and let's have a play. We're in, set up, we're ready and raring to go. Right, it's amazing the amount of stuff you actually physically have to bring in what essentially is 6 spots. I know we're changing the pendant over, but I've sheeted down as much as I can, hence why I cleaned all these this morning, because I knew they were going on kitchen sides. This is the island. This is the current light that they've had. As you can see, it is god awful, especially if you're stood at the cooker here. You cast a shadow immediately when you stand in front of it, as you can see. It's exactly the same with the sink, hence why we're going for some spotlights. This is being changed over, so the customer said this should be the permanent fixed spot where the island is going. This one's on wheels, but when they have a new kitchen in a few years, they're having a permanent island. We're gonna laser up, move this light over, so there'll be a bit of damage or a hole in the ceiling there. We can gunk that up or do some stuff so the loft installation doesn't fall down. Like I said, I've got some sheets down. Most of my tools, the sharp tools that are on it, protect the floor. We've got a tool bag, we've got the rumper tech, and we've got some more bits and bobs out there, the light and the uni light. Tester, I have ordered some stuff off Amazon today, which is like the magnet stuff with the clips. So I'm gonna finesse what I think would be good for magnetic clips with the D-rings and everything that lock onto the Mega to then show off with links for you guys. But for the time being, the calibration center very kindly gave me some Fluke magnet leads, which I'll show you in a minute. Mask, everything fabulous. Right, let's get this light down. Let me stick the tester on it. Make sure it's dead afterwards and we'll go from there. Oh, it's very dark. And I have done this before. The customer's just gone out some by myself. I happily just wung this straight in the recycling bin outside. Lost the screws, chucked it all separately, to find out afterwards the customer actually wanted to keep the light. So pre-warn you, if you're taking the screws out and taking the bracket down, just screw it all back together just in case the customer wants to keep it, because this is quite a nice light fit and it could go in a bedroom, whatever. So don't take it upon yourself to throw stuff away. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to get myself a ZS to confirm that I have an earth and it's a decent reading. It should be absolutely perfect. It's had a new board recently. Fabulous. Next, I'm just going to get the measurement of this island to make sure we're absolutely spot in the middle. I'm just going to keep my velocity thing there. So with 30 inches, does it here? It does a plumb line. So if I turn around and go, turn all the other lasers off and just have the plumb, hope you guys can see that. There's a red laser on my face. If I put that directly on my dot, so there's my cross, there's my dot, and then directly up here, we have the dot on the ceiling. So I'll just do a pencil mark now. I'm not going to drill anything because the next step is I'm going to go up in the loft, double check that there's no joist where that is, where it's all sitting. Then I can just put a spade bit up for the time being and a rod. So I know that is now exactly center where I want this bad boy to sit. That's isolated, it's turned off on the board. It hasn't got a lock and off kit on it. I will go and get one now and I will show you to prove a point, because as and when me working in here, it's absolutely fine. The fuse board's in here. There's no one at home. I know it's not gonna get turned on. But when I go up in the loft to start playing with the connections later on, I'm up there, the customer could easily walk in and turn it on. It's hammered into us from day one at Safe Isolation at college, and I am very guilty for not doing it as much as I should do. But it only takes, I've been electrocuted once by, say it's not electrocuted, I've been shocked. Electrocuted is when you die from getting a shock. I've been shocked by an old lady years and years ago, I've never told this story. Changing over the sockets in the kitchen, just the face plates. Fuse board was in the utility room next door, it's like a new build sort of thing. As I was changing it, I obviously nipped out to the van. She tried to turn the kettle on, realised the kettle didn't work. She just forgot that I had the electric off and I was working in it because she'd moved the kettle to the utility room. She then went to the fuse board, flicked it up, I come in, touched it, and I got zapped. That was my own fault because I didn't put one on it. it should be second nature for doing it. And like I say, I'm guilty for it, but I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to show you guys I'm doing better. There's me talking about safe isolation. I thought they both went out to the shops. The guy's still in his garage doing stuff. I didn't realise, and he's just walked in, obviously, which you've just seen. So that is now on, locked off. I have the keys there, which are in my pocket. It's as simple as that, and it took literally 2 seconds. Better than this. I think these ones are better than the screwdriver. That's bright. I think these ones here are quicker and easier for people to use if they don't want to faff around with a little terminal screwdriver that lock into place and lock it off. So it's worth it. It took me seconds. Okay then. So what I was going to say is now, just before I get too ahead of myself, before loads of stuff, I've done all the great job of sheeting up, covering all the stuff up, but there's a big hole in the ceiling. So I've just got some, for the time being, I don't have any filler. I ran out of the last job, which was the immersion switch on that took off the whole pot. Some cork and fill from CT1, from C-Tech. I'm just going to chuck that up in the hole, gunk the hole up, and then they can put filler on top. Like I say, this is cork and it's not silicone, so stuff will stick to it, or you can paint it. But I'm going to block that up, so as and when I'm moving the insulation up there in a little bit, stuff's not going to fall down, spread all over the kitchen, and get all over your food. Gross. Right, now we've come to the part of what we want to do with our lights. So there's 6 spots going in. So do we either do a row of 3 behind you and a row of 3 here, because it's quite a square room, or do we do a row of 3 down and a row of 3 down? Behind you, where you saw was the fuse board cupboard, which is the alcove, which kicks into the kitchen. So theoretically, if we want the lights to match up and be in line, we are going to have to use this wall here as predominantly the end of the kitchen. So we're just going to pretend that that's the wall there. So the light looks okay above you by the back door, and it still matches in here, which gives us enough light to light this corner. So I'm going to do 3 lights that way, 3 lights that way. Normally, measurement wise, we do 800 from the wall, worktop to 600. If we do 800, it gives you a good spread of light, so you could physically lean over the counter and not really cast a shadow. That's the whole purpose. If not, we have done it before on 600, so it's on the edge, but realistically, all you do is highlight the edge of the wall units, which isn't great because they're 300. So 800 to 700 or 750, you're in the right range. Behind you is going to be a little bit different because we've got a big glass window here. I don't know what other windows will be made out of, but it's fine. And the sink. So I'm actually going to do this, I think 650. This is obviously joist depending. So 650, this will be a slightly different measurement, maybe at 750. So now I know I'm doing 3 down here. I think because of the spread of the room, I could do 3 here, but I don't want it to look too busy and bunched above here. I'll turn you around so you can see what I mean. So what I mean by this is because of this alcove here, this is being treated as the wall. 2 would fit in really nicely. They wouldn't be bunched up together, they wouldn't be squashed. If you put 3 in, you'd be putting 1 quite close to the wall, 1 in the center obviously, and 1 quite close to this wall. It wouldn't look very good because it would significantly highlight this wall and this door. So by doing 2 and then bringing that way as a track of 3, you can spread the light out. You would then gain another light here in and around the oven, and then you would get 1 here next to you guys for the corner, for the microwave, that sort of stuff. And you would also gain 1 here as the walkway for the washing machine. It just works better. It's a square room, you can do it either way, but ideally, I mean, theoretically, you could get away with 4. Do it as a square and make this the center of the square. But I know full well when I do the spots that this is going to be offset because this is where they're on the island. So it's a catch-22 thing. I don't know if it is. I know I've heard the saying before. It just felt right. Cool. Right, we're going to go up and have a sneaky peek. I've obviously been up here previous to look at the job and to quote. I cannot remember. So I'll show you guys. We'll have a look which way the joists run, which is through Narnia's cupboard. We have so this is the light that they've currently been using all this time, which is off the socket. So if I turn this bad boy on, we should be running lengthways, which works really well for us the way we want to run 3 across the kitchen instead of in front of the kitchen. I know what I mean. So we've got the board, so let's just get over there and have a bit of a closer look. So the boards are screwed and they are tongue and groove, but they've not been done very well, if I'm being completely honest. I thought this was a piece of insulation that I could kick. No, it's pipes. I have got a mask. Ah! I've got a mask and I've got gloves, which we'll put on in a minute when we start disturbing stuff. I'm going to come back up here a bit more prepared in a minute. I know the joists go that way, so I can sort of plan my lights out, mark them out, come up with the rest of my stuff, PPE, drill, find the supply, because not only obviously we tapping into the supply to do the spots and switching it over from the pendant, we then need to run a new pendant supply from that joint and also run a feed over for the loft light as well. So there's a bit more to do. Off camera, I just look like an absolute madman with the stud buddies. These are two magnets that help you find the screws in the plasterboard to find where the joists are. I've been going around like a madman looking like I'm these weirdos that try and find water with sticks. I've just been caressing the ceiling for the past 5 minutes. With both magnets, I have not found one screw or nail or anything. So I can only presume they've used magic or glued the plasterboard to the ceiling or overboarded it maybe at some point, but even the overboard would have screws in it. Literally nothing. Anywhere. So failing this, now I've got a reference point of the hole there. The next step is go up there, take all the stuff up I said a second ago, find this hole, use this as a reference point to measure where the beams are way more precisely than we could now trying to guess off, oh, there's a wall there and there's a wall there, let's measure off that and bring it in, because it needs to be right. I don't want to be messing up. Right, we've hung the sun up here. We've gone round, labelled as many boards, so 1, 2, 3, going down to 6, so this one's 7. I'm going to try and take these up, whether or not the customer wants me to put them back down afterwards, because this isn't really used as storage, that side is. And equally, this, by the looks of it, is just squashing a hideous amount of insulation down onto the plasterboard, if there's any under it, which I can only presume there is. So let's get a few up, let's try and find a bloody cable. Right, I'll rewrap you afterwards, I promise. Everyone remind me. Right, so there is insulation. The joists do go the way I thought. It doesn't look like it's double boarded, but they are thin joists, and I can't understand why I couldn't find any nails. So at least now we have got a reference point of here for where it was, and the joists go. That way we can do a measurement in between if I decided to bring my tape measure up with me. I've also just seen where the pipes, and obviously they've put this lath on top to do the boards for the insulation. They've pinched the pipes directly touching the cables in that void. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. Give me that cable. So there's a hole. I've grabbed the tape. I've gone downstairs while I was down there to get a rough idea where I'd actually like the lights. That line there is 800 away from this hole-ish here, and I did it between 50 and 60 from that hole there for the measurement that I want, that matches in from each side, which is there. So we've got centre of a trough, but equally, what I don't quite figure out is the gap between this light here and the edge of the wall is significant. I know we've got the alcove of coming out of the boiler cupboard or the fuse board cupboard, whatever you want to call it, running across. But I'm just going to triple check that it was 800 to here and it was 50 to 60 here, but we're well within lines. What I've done for the first time ever, obviously that's a hole. I've cut off little tabs of electrical tape, which is stuck here. Normally we just do it in pencil, but we have forgot either to rub them off the ceiling afterwards. We've used a big wipe and actually took paint off the ceiling and made it look worse. So tape, rough guesstimate of where we're going to be just so we can visualize stuff. So we're just going to double check that is 800, which it is. I suppose with this bit, see that is a significant gap. So if I was to put this over that side and you would see where it sits, this is only just to the right of you, but you're sat on the extractor hood of the cooker. It needs to go over. It needs to go over at the same point. We can't go too close to this wall or it will look ridiculous. For an easy representation, so the blue ones, I hope you can tell which ones the blue ones are. So the green and yellow are the ones coming across here. That is our joist lines. And I've put that in practice here for you guys to see visually of what I can see. But if you're struggling with visualizing stuff on your own jobs, go up, find a point of reference, take a picture, come down and stick some tape on the ceiling like that so you can physically see where the joists are. That should be center of each joist. So the blue ones here are our downlight. So this side was fantastic. This side I pushed it over because I really wasn't happy. It was landing about here. And then that being there it was just so far away from this corner, I didn't like it. So I pushed it over by 200, which lo and behold is exactly smack bang center of a joist. So we either push it more left and get closer to this wall, or we have to push it back right to not far off where it was. So this is, It seems such a simple job, and it is sometimes. It really just, you come into a square room, we're going to do this, or it's a rectangle room, we're going to form this, the joists are out of the way, it's no problem at all. But sometimes with a kitchen, when you've got to physically see where the main work is going to take place, where you want the light, it has to look good to the eye, and it has to be in straight lines, or a pattern. You can do it in patterns, but I've done this hundreds and hundreds of times over the years, and we've only messed up a couple of times just because we didn't put the prep work in and we didn't triple check measurements. Hence, if you do stuff like this, it's very hard to get it wrong, and you can physically see where the downlights are going. I mean, if the customer was here, the lady, I'd ask the gentleman, but he'll just say, ask the wife, she's the boss, the way it normally is where you would like them most with the 6. I mean, you could get rid of that one altogether, let's say, push this side in and push that side out, but I think realistically we're just gonna have to bite the bullet, bring this line back over to where it's safe to drill and just go there. It's gonna be plenty of light for here, even with it not as close as we want it to be. It's gonna be such an improvement it was before off them like 4 old spots, which cast a shadow, these won't. So I think we have to do that, because if I push this any closer to this wall, it's gonna highlight the wall and it's gonna do exactly what I don't want it to do, as I said earlier. That's the way it's looking now with the new measurements. As you can see, we bumped it over a little bit. Now it's just time for me to mark the ceiling properly. Potentially, if I wanted to, do a pilot bit, stick a rod up. On each one, if you wanted to, I'm going to get the laser out to make sure these are dead on, and these are dead on. But then again, it might be a bit over the top because we've got a nice straight wall to measure off here. You've got a bit of a funny alcove wall to measure off, but equally, if you want them in line, you could just measure off this light to this light, this light to this light. It will square itself out and it'll look right off the flat, long wall in the room rather than the wall with multiple measurements. Some more advice that I can give you, I'm full of it today. Right, I need to obviously get the center of the room. I did measure it, it was roughly for the tape, but we've got our mark there, we've got our mark here. If you're by yourself, screwdriver in the ceiling, hook your tape on, you can pull it all the way across, get the measurement, come back, hook it on there again and get center. So I've done this hundreds of times, and then when Adam came and worked for me, it was glorious. Didn't need to do it. All that does happen. We've got it all penciled out, coming across, lovely jubbly. I had to double check with the laser with this side. I've just bumped it over a little bit. For the video's sake, I know this is going to be okay, but what we're going to do is get the hole saw out, so we've got the right size pilot bit. There's nothing worse than drilling a bigger hole. We'll put the pilot bit up, the 2 center holes there and there. I'll stick these 2 red rods up. It doesn't matter what color they are because the ends are all the same. So as long as you're getting a bit, they fit through the pilot bit slot, you're okay. We'll poke them up, we'll double, we'll triple check in the loft, and then we can start drilling. Decided just to do the 1. It's pointless doing 2. Rod is up. That is further enough away from the edge of the joist, but I'm happy. And then 142 centimeters brings us to here, which is this light. So we know we're in the clear. There's no pipe runs on this one as well, or that one. Like a sneaky one was hidden down here. No, here. So obviously we don't want to be hitting stuff like that, but yeah, it means I can go and drill out now. Right, let's get it. We've got the dade, we've got the hole saw, we've got our lovely markings. We've also got down there the bucket, which I've now lined with a plastic bag. So as and when we need to get the inserts out, we can just whiz it around in there, keep the dust down to a minimum. Ideally, to keep all dust down to a minimum, we could take it outside and do it. But both the customers are home now, they're having some lunch and the dog's there. So for what it's worth, I'm going to do it that way. Leave it a couple of seconds, let the dust settle. I should pull it back down, nice and slowly. And there you go. I'm going to now spin it in the bucket. What usually happens, which I've found out with the Milwaukee stuff, is as and when I do this, the chuck comes loose and the bit comes out anyway. Like that, even though I tightened up as tight as I could. Now we've got them all cut. Especially the far 2 nearest the cooker, we're boarded. We're boarded to pretty much that one. We're going to try and get a rod. We're also going to try and slip it on the near side of the installation up across to the center hole, which we can reach because it should be within the same trough that we've taken up. Same with the far ones. I can reach that if I wanted to go crawling, but I'm going to attempt to stick a rod in it just so we've got the drum up there already. We can go to the center, we can come down. This is the backwards and forwards now we end up doing. A rod in backwards and forwards to bring in the cables where we need them. So in theory, I've got the yellow rod, which is the most flexible ones out of the set you get. You do get like the see-through ones, which are like the really bendy ones. But a lot of the time you hit a piece of insulation that doesn't want to budge, it'll just bend and curl around itself rather than actually going anywhere. So that should be down there. Do the same thing here. Same thing on the front too. Then we can go upstairs. Either this is going to be first one on the circuit or that one, I haven't decided. So one's going to have one cable as the final end and one's going to have two cable, the feed to it and then the switch, the loop out to the other lights. So jump up in the loft, but it's going to be one of the situations where I am just going to keep coming up and down. It is what it is. At least it's a nice ladder and it's just there and it's not 3 stories up and it's a horrible ladder. I've just thought of another plan instead. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the drum back downstairs, Earthshore, Doncaster cable, Run Protect 3000, whatever it's called, X-board, that's it, is I'm going to pull down, pull to length what I need, tape onto the rods that are there. So theoretically, I should then be able to do everything from upstairs with the cut lengths, obviously with a bit more slack in case we come across some problems. But yeah, that's the plan because I can't be asked to keep going up and downstairs. Just done it once, out of breath already. Cool. Okay, sweet, no problem. See you later. Bye. Right, that is now pinched, so I've bent the cable like this, so as and when it hits the hole, it should stop, and that feels like it stopped, and I have pulled way too much cable off than I needed to, and that's fine. This one here being the loop, this is to the middle downlight, which theoretically should be here. See a little bit of light there. Hello, Jackie. This is our new pendant feed that I brought up through the floor. Right, so I've got all the cables that I want. I've started putting the boards back down. I've run a cable round that's going to go to the loft light, to the light switch over there, in and ready. So what I'm going to do when I put this down, I did speak to the customer, he says he's not really that bothered, but I think for the finish that I can get with the pipes in the way, I'm not going to put that one back, but I'm going to put this one back. I'm going to drill 2 holes here and here. One will have these cables coming up that we feed into the Wager box, and then the other looped over into the whisker box for the center pendant light for the Energy switch. So it's not that I can film here, but yeah, that's the gist. This is where we stand now. We've got the holes cut out. We've got the Wager box. We've got a whisker box. I'm yet to screw these down. We've got a pump supply and then the pendant feed to go to our Connect receiver, Energy receiver, and then we've got what essentially is a loop in, switch feed, load out, and I'll run you through that. But I'm going to quickly whiz these all together, screw this down. Right, loft work is completed, everything's done. I didn't bother filming anything with the loft light and the switch because I'll show you in a little bit when I've got to go up there. Unfortunately, because I'm going to test from the loft light itself, that technically would be end of line, but equally so is the downlights here. We also need to connect up the light switch to the receiver, so we've got to go up there anyway. So I'll run you through that there. Next, downlights, in, up, around. I'm using the light me of the job the other week, the Avon Pros. Quick, easy to fit, and nice and shallow, because my problem is obviously we've got a lot of insulation up there, and if I need to push a bit to the side with a screwdriver to allow that to go up, brilliant. And obviously it's boarded the other side, so we're going to be perfect with that. Right, I've took the lock and off kit on. Everything is done and dusted. You can see this fabulous light fitting behind me. I would have recorded a bit more, but I've just been talking to the customers for ages. They're genuinely absolutely lovely and just run me through another 5 jobs that they want me to do in the future. So we're doing R1, R2s, linked through on the board, on all the leads. What I've done, I'll show you in a minute with this. So what I've done, this is end of line downlight, but I've opened the connections up, done a little feed in, the connector blocks are actually off the original light fit, which are here, just as an end test point. So R1, R2, we write that down. I'll energize it now. We'll do our ZS's, and then I can pop this back up, and then we can go across, test the loft light, and we'll come across and energize this, link this up the switch, and see how it all looks. Right, we can all see how hideously dark it is in here. This one's obviously meant to be pointing down, but it's so much better. I can't even describe to you guys. It is a dark room, especially now. It's 20 past 4. I've been here quite a significant time. Loft light on, fabulous. I've turned this to 6.5K. I always do it with loft lights just because it's brighter and it makes more sense. And then the loft light clipped up, switch, across, done, and then I've just fixed. So this is one of the things that the customer wants me to do. Is can you get rid of all this, because this is an extension lead off an extension lead off an extension lead off an extension lead that goes down. Cut that off, drop that down, run a socket properly all the way through there into the sewing room, up and down at the front, and a PAR light in a little cupboard, which is now a little library bookcase. Right, so we've got a hidden switch under there.
Are we out the way?
Yeah, no worries, mate. On and off, and then we'll turn that on. We've got the lights on, if we want a bit of both fun. But how bright this is, I mean, you guys can shout, how much brighter is this now than it was before?
Yeah, wow, I need my sunglasses.
We are done. Customers have chuffed a bit, so hopefully you heard what they said at the end. They couldn't believe how bright they were, because obviously before, like I've said, it just had 4 spots, and they've got the choice now between the 2. If we had the chance to have both switches together, we would, but they are having a kitchen remodel in the next couple of years, so we can bang it all together, and they've asked for some undercover lights as well. So quote that up, get that sorted, send the invoice over in a little bit, probably tomorrow if I'm being honest. And yeah, so I'm going to try and do more videos, but break it down a little bit, but I know I've spent longer on doing this job. One, because I wanted to get it absolute bang on for you guys for the video, for them, the clipping, the boxes, the labeling. I'm trying to just do as much stuff as that comes into my head and go, yeah, it seems like a good idea, let's do that. Rather than just go, all right, it doesn't need a label on it. Why not? I had it in the van. I literally printed them labels off this morning when I was putting the table out. So prepping stuff. Yeah, hopefully it's been some help, and there's some tips and tricks that you guys can use. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you, bye.